Doubt is not the enemy of faith. When you have questions, it usually means that you care, that you're paying attention, that your faith is leaving the kiddie pool and starting to wander off to the deep end. The idea that we should hide our questions or our doubts from God is completely backwards. In John 14:6, Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. The truth, that realization that Jesus is the truth is wildly freeing. Because if Jesus is the truth, then every honest search for truth by definition, is a search for Jesus. Even when it's messy, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it comes with questions attached. If we go looking for the truth, we will find Jesus. Look, somewhere along the way, we started acting like doubt is dangerous. Like if we ask one too many deep questions, Jesus is going to slip through our fingers. But think about that, because if Jesus is the truth, then why are we so afraid of asking questions? Why do we act like God's throne is wobbly? Like one question is going to knock the Almighty off his throne. I once heard that when Jewish rabbis come across a passage of scripture that they don't understand, they dance. They're not frustrated. They're excited for what God is about to teach them. Meanwhile, when we come across a piece of scripture that we don't understand, we don't dance. We freeze. We panic. We quietly shove our doubts and our questions in the junk drawer next to our socks. Doubt is not a threat. It's an invitation. See, God is not just some philosophical, abstract idea. God is a living, real God, which means that he will meet you in your doubt. And the part that always gets me is we treat doubt like a Christian curse word, like it's proof that your faith is weak. Do you realize what God's people are named after? Israel. That name comes from Genesis 32, when Jacob wrestles with God in the middle of the night in the tent. The story just kind of comes out of nowhere, but Jacob and God throw down till sunrise. And when it's over, God renames Jacob Israel, which means one who wrestles with God. That's the name of God's people. Not perfect certainty, not never had a question, never had a doubt. The name is we wrestle, we struggle. Jacob doesn't win the fight. God lets Jacob hang in there till morning, like a dad roughhousing with his kids in the living room. Because towards the end, God casually touches Jacob's hip and it breaks, it shatters. But Jacob walks away blessed, but left with a limp. So help me understand something. How did we go from being a people who's named after wrestling with God to being terrified of honest questions? Doubt isn't the enemy of faith. It's the birthplace of it. The goal is not to eliminate every question. The goal is to bring every question to God honestly, because God's not afraid of them. And more often than not, our faith grows not in getting answers or certainty, but in the wrestling with God.